start the record. All right. I told you guys we could get back together this evening and go over this next step and clarify, answer any questions you might have, and try to avoid some confusion. So everyone got your step one in. I got that graded back. Everything was fine on those. Those all look good. So step two is a little bit more on your part. I don't know if you've looked ahead and studied it. Everybody, did you both see the lesson plan template that's on there?
Yes.
Okay, in the shell. Okay, so is there any questions over that? Kind of what is going to be asked for you on that? So literally what you're doing is you're going to combine your two students and all that, come up with an IEP goal, and then do the interventions and come up with the tier 2 and 3 interventions on it. So it's going to be a little bit more, I'd say, intensive on that versus compared to last week's, where it was just tier 1, which is kind of just general classroom intervention. So
I have a question. My intervention that I'm looking at is the incremental rehearsal for alphabet knowledge for preschool. And one of my kids is working on uppercase and one of them is lowercase. And I'm kind of wondering if I could do one lesson plan on one and one lesson plan on the other, or should I do it as a dyad?
You actually could go either way with that. The only thing is, I would say, and keep in mind that the next step after step 2, you're gonna go in and actually teach that lesson plan and video yourself for the PLC. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
I'm good with it either way.
Okay.
If you want to do that, but just think about, how am I going to address this when I do the video side of it?
Okay.
Is that, you all right with that? I'm good with it either way.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I'll think about it.
Okay. So that may be the only thing you really have to kind of look ahead on, knowing that, hey, for this last part of this project, I've got to do that, teach that lesson plan. So how you would attack that.
Okay.
Jessica, what about you? You have any thing you're not sure on that I could?
So I guess so. Okay. Like the two boys are pretty similar. So like I can just choose like any like intervention for reading, because that's where they're both really low in.
Yeah.
My biggest concern is where I'm a general ed teacher. I have 20 kiddos, and so when I pull them over for RTI and such, like I guess it's more concern for the next part, because I'm afraid my video recording is going to be like include a lot of me having to direct back to the rest of my kid, like keeping them on task and everything. So I have thought, and I haven't asked her yet. We do have a title teacher. I was thinking about if there would be a chance to actually, because she does, it's at a point, pull both of these boys. Yep. So I was thinking about asking her if there'd be a chance that we could almost like flip-flop classrooms, and if she watches my kids for just a little bit while I, but if that doesn't work, I mean, is it okay knowing that I'm going to have to, in the video be redirecting some of my other kids?
It is, and so let's talk about either scenario. Okay, so if she's willing to flip, that would be great if she can, and that way you could pull those two students that you've been working with, and if there's a couple other kids that you've been working with, some RTI, and you wanted to include them, and that way maybe you have small group 4 or 5.
Right.
That would work if that individual is willing to do it. The other scenario is it doesn't work out between your scheduling and hers, or her willingness to flop or flip schedules. When I go and review that, I'm not really going to so much look at that in my scoring that you're having to stop and address that. My main focus is what I'm looking at in this rubric on how you are able to meet the needs of those students with that tier 2 and 3. So if you have to go that route, don't stress over, oh gosh, that's gonna, it's gonna lower the quality because I had to stop and deal with Johnny over here as being a knucklehead and all that. I'm not looking at that. I'm looking at the intervention side of it. So if you have to do that, don't stress over it. I'm worried about this other, and that's what I'm going to focus in on when I review it.
Okay. Because yeah, I was thinking the chance of the
Well,
other 18 kids just being quiet the whole time is pretty
It
slim.
is, and right now, I mean, here's another thing I take into consideration. I know right now it's spring, it's testing, kids are bouncing off the wall. Every administrator I talk to around here, they're seeing the same thing. And so I get it.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. So same thing with you, Kim. If you run into that, just know what I'm looking for.
Right. I have been looking at like different times of our day when it would be best to pull them. A lot of our times I pull during center time, and they are extremely distractible. And I try to do a lot of games and incorporate what we're doing during centers to do my teaching. So taking them to do this, which is more of a drill type base, is going to be a lot harder to implement during centers as they see all their friends playing than it would be maybe during morning meeting, which is something they do every day, or a tabletop activity.
Sure.
So maybe if I play with different times during the day, that might make more sense for us.
Yeah, and you might, just give them a little bit of notice in advance. Hey, I'm going to be working on this, and I really need you to help me and be a good helper, and just kind of talk to them a little bit about it versus not saying anything and pulling them. They're like, what's going on and all that. Let's see, they've kind of been prepped a little bit, knowing they're going to help you on a project. And I don't know, I've had students before that they did that, and those kids, they were really excited that they got to help Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so be a special helper, and it's going to be watched by adults and all that. So yeah, they tend to take a little bit of pride in that, knowing they're getting to take part in a big special project. So
very cool. Okay, good way of thinking of it. Okay.
Yeah. And same way with you too, Jessica. You might want to kind of give them a little bit of heads up morning in advance and kind of talk to them a little about that and let them know that they're really taking a special part and getting to help you do something for your classes. And
yeah, that definitely does work for these little kiddos.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They think they're important, man.
Camp.
That really makes them feel good, and they're important. And hey, I'm getting to help Miss Bishop do this, and so
maybe if I even show them the video too, they would be able to look at you. I mean, obviously their faces aren't going to be in it, but if they get to watch their, even their backs to it, they might like that too.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, I would go back and let them see, hey, this is what you were a part of, and yeah, definitely, for sure.
Good thinking. Okay.
And so this part of it, and I know we talked about, hey, we'll touch base and answer any questions, is actually won't be due until, well, it's coming up like the 10th, but no, it's the 17th, isn't it? I'm off on my days here. So you've got a little bit more time on this part 2, on this tier 2-3 lesson plan. And then we'll have another little gap as you go into planning for the video, which we will meet before then too, to go over some things and answer questions and provide clarification. So you got a little bit of time here. It's not like this is due this Sunday night.
Right.
So give you a little extra time, but I kind of wanted to provide this opportunity for you based off of last week, kind of sensing that maybe you might need that time to ask some questions. So
appreciate it.
Everybody feel good on everything else? I mean, coming along all right? No major concerns for you?
Nope.
Okay. All right. Well, if you run into something between, now and then, just email me and with a question or concern, and I'll get to you. And if we need to connect again here in the next few days, we can do that. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. You guys have a good evening then.
You too. Bye.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.